Today, we're diving into a pretty radical idea drawn from the book Secondary Schizophrenia. It's a concept that challenges everything we think we know about psychosis. What if its roots aren't just in the mind, but deep within our own biology?
Just let that sink in for a moment. For over 100 years, we've kind of drawn this firm line between functional mental illnesses and organic brain disorders. But what if that line is way, way blurrier than we ever thought? What if some cases we label as schizophrenia are actually symptoms of something else entirely? A physical illness that's just wearing a psychiatric disguise?
All right, so what are we even talking about here? Well, primary schizophrenia is the one we hear about most, right? The one where the cause is, well, it's still a mystery. But secondary schizophrenia is different. It's when we can actually point to a specific culprit, an infection, a genetic disorder, you name it, and say, aha, this is the trigger. It's psychosis with a known physical origin story. First up, let's explore how illnesses that affect your entire body can have these absolutely profound effects on the brain. This is where that whole mind-body connection gets crystal clear.
This is so crucial to remember. The brain isn't floating in a vacuum. It's an organ, just like your heart or your lungs, and it is totally vulnerable to problems happening elsewhere in your body. So when your body is fighting off a major illness, your brain can get caught right in the crossfire. And one of the most dramatic results of that, psychosis.
And the range of these triggers is shockingly wide. I mean, we're not just talking about super rare diseases. Acute psychosis can pop up after common infections like the flu. It's also been linked to metabolic problems and autoimmune conditions like lupus, where the body's own defense system basically goes rogue and can start attacking the brain, causing some serious psychiatric symptoms. Okay, now let's shift gears and look at our own genetic blueprint. The connection between our DNA and the risk for schizophrenia is one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, complex areas of research out there. And it's revealing some pretty startling stuff.
80%. Just take that in for a second. 80%. That is the estimated heritability of schizophrenia. This number is massive, and it tells us in no uncertain terms that genetic factors play a huge, huge role in who develops this condition. It's actually one of the highest heritability rates in all of medicine.
But how does that risk get passed down? Well, it's not as simple as finding a single schizophrenia gene. Right now, scientists are really exploring two main ideas. One theory is kind of like death by 1,000 cuts. It's a combo of many common genes, and each one adds just a tiny little bit of risk. The other idea is that it's caused by rare but really powerful genetic variants that have a large effect, maybe unique to just one person or family. The truth? It's probably a mix of both. And you can see this link in action with a number of single gene disorders that can present with symptoms that look almost identical to schizophrenia. Take Huntington's disease, for example. A delusional mood can actually be the very first sign, long before psychosis really takes hold. Or mitochondrial disorders, which are passed down from the mother, can mimic that consistently inconsistent course that is so typical of schizophrenia.
Now, out of all these genetic connections, there is one that really stands out. It has become this incredibly powerful model for helping us understand the biology of psychosis itself. And it's a condition called velocardiofacial syndrome.
So, VCFS, which you might also hear called 22q11.2 deletion syndrome, happens when a tiny little piece of chromosome 22 is just missing. Now, this small deletion can cause a bunch of physical, health, and cognitive issues, but it's the shocking link to psychosis that has researchers absolutely fascinated.
And I am not exaggerating when I say this. VCFS is considered, and I'm quoting here, the strongest known link between psychosis and an identified genetic condition. You could almost think of it as a Rosetta Stone for researchers, giving them this unique window into the biology of the brain.
And here's why. Roughly 40% of people with VCFS will develop schizophrenia or a mood psychosis. 40%! To put that in perspective, the risk for you or me in the general population is about 1%. This one genetic condition boosts the risk to a level that's almost the same as having an identical twin with schizophrenia. It is a staggering, staggering link. And here's the really crucial part. The psychosis you see in VCFS is clinically identical to what we call primary schizophrenia. The symptoms, the response to treatment, it's all the same. So what does that mean? It means that by studying people with VCFS, where we know the genetic cause, scientists can start to unlock the biological secrets of psychosis for everyone.
So, let's pull back for a second. Why does all of this matter? Why is it so important to study these cases of secondary schizophrenia? Well, it's all about finding clues to solve a much, much bigger puzzle that affects millions of people.
See, every single case of psychosis that has a known physical cause, whether it's an autoimmune disease or a genetic deletion, is like a breadcrumb on a biological roadmap. And by following these clues, researchers can start to piece together the incredibly complex mechanisms of psychosis. This could lead to massive breakthroughs for everyone with the illness, maybe even new treatments that target the biological root cause instead of just the symptoms.
And this isn't just about research. It has real-world implications for diagnosis right now. It means clinicians really need to be detectives. If a patient's symptoms are a bit unusual, like the psychosis starts at a later age, or they're having both visual and tactile hallucinations, that should raise a red flag. A full physical and neurological workup isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely essential to see if there's an underlying physical cause.
So we end on a question that really challenges the foundation of how we see mental health. If an infection, or a metabolic issue, or a tiny piece of missing DNA can create the very same symptoms as what we call a mental illness, then what does that term even mean anymore? It forces us to see the brain not as something separate from the body, but as deeply, intricately, and vulnerably a part of it.